was like a combination of like 3 really long routes, so we are definitely going to be here for a while. So let's do it! Alright, so I've decided to post-commentate this throughout the stretch of 3 or 4 routes that we're going to be going through here, because since all these routes combined are very long, and there's just a lot of editing, so I figured that without interrupting my commentary too many times for all the editing, I think it would be best for me to do commentary this way, which means that for the first time in the playthrough, you're going to be seeing me talk throughout these trainers, the several trainer battles that we're going to be going through here. So as we're going through this is actually a good time to talk about the Pokemon that you could find here. In this particular route, you could find Doduo. That's the new Pokemon that you could find here. It's a really good normal flying type. I did use it in my Fire Red playthrough, so I would recommend that. Not sure how it would compare to like Gen 3. I'd imagine a little bit worse because Gen 1's move pool. It's the first generation, so you expect the move pool to not be super amazing. So yeah. So I guess while we're going through this would actually be a pretty good time. Because, like, there's really not much to talk about throughout these battles and throughout these routes, really. But this would be a good time to kind of talk about my history with Pokemon. Since, my channel has mostly been known for Mario and Pokemon. And I've talked about my history with Mario several times, but I never really talked much about my history with Pokemon. I may have, like, talked about it a few times, but yeah, it was like that perfect opportunity to kind of talk about my history of Pokemon, just due to the fact that, it's first generation, it's very nostalgic, and Yellow, to me, is very nostalgic. So, I played Pokemon when I was younger, but at the time, I wasn't really much into games back then, so I didn't really understand the concept of Pokemon. I didn't really understand the games very well, but I have watched the anime, and I would watch the anime pretty regularly from the first generation Pokemon series all the way up to 3rd gen, all the way up to, I believe, Advanced Battle. I think Advanced Battle was the last season of the Pokemon anime that I've seen, and then I just never really watched the rest of Pokemon from there. I eventually got into the games. I eventually, like, really got into the games with Pokemon Emerald. And, I owned Yellow, I also owned Blue version. I think Blue was my very first Pokemon game that I did play, and I played it on the N64 using the Game Boy pack that you just plugged into your controller of the N64, and so you could play Game Boy games on the N64, and that's how I played Blue version. But, like I said, didn't understand Pokemon at the time, so I never really got far into the games. And so it just took me a very long time. I haven't really beaten a Pokemon game up until 7th grade, really. My first Pokemon game that I've beaten was no, not 7th grade. It was actually I think it was 5th or 6th grade. It was 4th generation. It was when I really got into Pokemon. I kind of got into it with Emerald, but I really got into it during 4th gen. I got Platinum, and I really liked Platinum. But then I got Diamond shortly after. I haven't finished Platinum, but then I got Diamond, and even though Platinum is supposed to be the definitive version of Gen 4, there was something about Diamond that I just liked more over Platinum, and so I played through Diamond more than Platinum, and eventually I got really hooked into Diamond, that I eventually finished Diamond, and Diamond just, like, to this day, like, remains to be, like, this very special game for me. And it also just meant that Gen 4 was just very special for me. I like the entirety of Gen 4. Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, as well as Heart Gold and Soul Silver, all those games were just very special to me. But Diamond was very special because it was the first Pokemon game that I've completed. It was, like, very satisfying to me. And, even then, like, Diamond, I just spent so much time on Diamond. And after the amount of time I spent on Diamond, I was really inspired to go back to the earlier Pokemon games and try and complete those. And, you know, when I was older and I understood games more, which meant that I understood Pokemon, how the Pokemon games work, I went back to the older Pokemon games and complete those. So, you know, I eventually completed Platinum, I eventually completed the Gen 3 games, Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, and then eventually went back to my Gold, Silver, and Crystal games, and then eventually Gen 1, and, you know, ironically enough, Gen 1 is the one that is the generation that I spend the least time on throughout Pokemon, because when I got into Fire Red and Leaf Green, and seeing just, like, all these qualities of life that Fire Red and Leaf Green had over Red, Blue, and Yellow, I really didn't have much of a reason to play Gen 1. But I eventually did go back to Gen 1 and complete those games, but, you know, the Gen 1 games, even to this day, I still believe that Gen 1 is very inferior to Gen 3, and as well as, you know, the remakes, Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu. But it is the first generation, and they were still trying to figure out a formula to work with Pokemon, and so they improved upon the bugs that Gen 1 suffered from when they released Gen 2. And I really like Gen 2. Crystal is amazing. So, yeah. So that's basically my history with Pokemon, for the most part. Since Platinum, I've gotten Pokemon games as they came out. So I got Platinum on the same year that it came out. I didn't really get it on day one. And then I got Heart Gold and Soul Silver when it came out. And then Gen 5 came out. Well, Gen 5 was introduced, and I got it in Japanese. And I had talked about this briefly during my Gen 5 LPs. But I got Black and White. I tried out Japanese Black and White before it came out here in the US. I didn't really play very far, because obviously it was in Japanese, so I couldn't figure out what to do, because I couldn't read the text. And then, Gen 5 finally came out in the States, and then I got Black and White. Still have Black and White even to this day. And there was something about Gen 5, like, Gen 5 isn't really bad, but there was something about Gen 5 that didn't really appeal to me that much. I think at that point, because I was playing so much Pokemon at that point, that I was starting to get tired of playing Pokemon, and the fact that all the new Pokemon that was introduced was, like, I couldn't understand the new Pokemon. There was no returning Pokemon from Gens 1 through 4 going into Black and White. So, it took me an extremely long time to... I set down Black and White for a while, for a pretty long while. I don't remember how long it took me, but it definitely took me a while to eventually complete Black and White. I remember that Black and White just was kind of boring for me. At least the first half. The second half of the game, I like. when I got to the second half, I was really invested in Black and White, but that took me a while to actually get there. And then Black and White 2. Black and White 2 improved upon the issues I had with Black and White, and so I really like Black and White 2. But then I really kind of lost interest in Pokemon during 6th Gen. When 6th Generation came out, and they introduced Mega Evolutions, and as well as the new Pokemon, I just felt like I wasn't interested in Pokemon anymore. So I didn't get X and Y, nor did I get Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, although those are games that I really want to try out, because I like 3rd generation. 3rd and 4th generation are two of my favorite generations in Pokemon, especially 4th gen. But I will eventually get around to it, because like I said, I do intend to complete the entire Pokemon series on my channel, so I will have to get to those games eventually. I didn't play any of the 7th generation games at all. When I saw what 7th generation looked like, I just did not understand what was happening. But maybe it's because that I've played Pokemon so much that the newer standards of Pokemon was starting to like die down on me. But that's probably just me. But then I got back into Pokemon when 7th generation was moved to the Switch, and I got Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, and then Sword and Shield, and then Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. To this day, at least as of recording this video, I'll probably get this game at some point, but I haven't gotten Pokemon Legends Arceus, which is a game that I'm kind of interested in getting, even though I don't usually follow up with games outside of the main series games, but Legends of Arceus does seem like something that I do want to try out. So yeah, that's basically it with as far as Pokemon's concerned. And I am very interested in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Those games they look visually appealing when I saw the trailers of it, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. It seems like it's going to be a new generation, which it's probably confirmed, but I'm like late on the news, but I'm very excited as to what those games have to offer. So that's basically Pokemon for me right there. Anyway, so we're here in newer routes here. So, in the previous route, you can find Doduo as a new Pokemon. In this route, you can find Venomoth as a new Pokemon. And then we're actually at a different route now. In this particular route, you can find Gloom, Weepinbell, and Farfetch. Gloom being the evolved form of Oddish, and Weepinbell being the evolved form of Bellsprout. And with the Leaf Stone, you can evolve both of them from Gloom to a Vileplume, and then a Weepinbell to a Weepinbell. And that's how you're gonna get those Pokemon. We have basically just one more route to go out of this entire stretch before we finally make our way back to the next city. If you look on the map, in order to get to Fuchsia City, you can go south from Lavender Town or west from Celadon City. And this is the route where if you go south from Lavender Town, then you'll get to Fuchsia City. But I'm taking the path backwards, essentially, in order to save like fly trips and whatnot. Normally, this is actually the point where I would go back to the entire region and re-explore all the routes now that I have all the HMs, but there's really not much you get out of re-exploring the routes at all, which is why you're not seeing me do that at all. So if you cut that tree, you can fight the fisherman right there, and you'll get iron, which is a stat boost item that raises the base defense of a Pokemon. And then next up we have this trainer right here. There's still quite a lot of trainers left to go. This route's really long, and every time I do this route, it's such a slog. There's a reason why in speedruns you basically never see this route at all. The cycling route is much faster. If you go to this house right here, then this guy will give you the Super Rod. And the Super Rod allows you to fish for better Pokemon, aside from Magikarps with the old rod. You can still find Magikarps with a Super Rod, but it's not as common. You can find more variety of Pokemon with the Super Rod. Some notable Pokemon you can find with the Super Rod is you can find Goldines, Poliwags. I think you can find the evolved form of Goldeen, which is Seeking. And then I think you can find Gyarados in the water as well. Might be wrong on that. You can also find some of those Pokemon when you're surfing across water. That also makes a good point. I haven't talked about this yet, but you can find Pokemon while you're surfing. Oh, and then you can fight this Snorlax again right here, but because, I already showed off the other Snorlax, there's no point in me showing that fight off, so I decided to, not show it off. And by going to the left, then you might notice that this route is familiar, and that's that we have shown this route already. And so if you keep going that way, this will take us back to Vermilion City. So I went back to heal up all my HP and all my power points. And then we continue, and we really don't have much left after the Snorlax. We just have a few more trainers. So we just gotta go ahead and take care of the rest of the trainers here. Starting off with that fisherman right here, who has some water Pokemon. There's a fisherman earlier who had a Magikarp, and if you know anything about Magikarps, they are a waste of time. Magikarps in general are just a waste of time. They're bad Pokemon to use, and then when you fight them, they're bad because you barely gain any experience from them. Alright, so two more fishermen here. We fought one of them. We're going to be fighting this guy, and there we go. That guy only had a Goldeen. There's an item in that small little part right there that you have to surf for, and I don't have my Squirtle with me in my party, so I will have to go back to that route once I'm done and get my Squirtle just to get that item right there. And that's the only item in this route that you can find by surfing. So this is actually the last trainer right here, and after that last trainer, I'm just making sure that there is nothing else. And we go through this gate right here, head up the stairs, and we have this girl right here. My Pokemon's Ash are stored in Pokemon Tower. You can take this TM, I don't need it anymore, and that is TM39. And TM39 contains Swift, which is a normal type move that never misses, but unfortunately, due to how first generation works, there's a 1 out of 256 chance where any move can miss, which means that Swift can miss, even though it's not supposed to miss. It makes no sense, but that's the case. But if you get like Sand Attack or whatever, anything that lowers your accuracy, Swift will never miss. It doesn't affect the accuracy. So if we head on upwards, if I can go upwards, then guess what? We are now in Lavender Town. So I'm going to get my Squirtle, and now we're back to this route, and now we are going to go ahead and surf and see what this item contains for us. And this item is TM16, and that is Payday! Don't need it. But with that, that is everything of this route. So to end things off before the video ends, we're going to head on back to the Ceylon department store, and we are going to go ahead and buy fresh water. Why did I do that, you might ask? Well, it's required. That's the simple answer here. This is kind of one of the few instances where it might be really hard for you to figure out what to do next after going through all those routes that we've went through. But this is what you're supposed to do. In Fire Red and Leaf Green, it's different. You instead go through here, and you get tea instead. You know, it makes things easier, but we're gonna go ahead and grab fresh water. I'm parched. I can have this drink. Gee, thanks. So if you have either the fresh water or the soda pop, lemonade doesn't work, then you can give the fresh water to this guard who's on guard duty. He says he's going to share it to the other guards. So now we can actually enter this place, which is Saffron City. So we're finally here in Saffron City after so long of figuring out how to get to Saffron City. So, as you can see, it's a really big city. So we're going to be exploring this place here in the next part. So with that being said, that is going to be it for this episode of Pokemon Yellow. And next time, we're going to be exploring Saffron City. And it looks like Team Rocket's here. What's up with that? But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.